Hello, trading is closed on the 17th of January, 2023. Let's do our disclaimer first, then we'll go over our calls and make some predictions. So my trading plan for Wednesday, January 18th, 2023. Please remember, I can be wrong. Any trade you make should be at your own risk. We call for the pattern with the early high, which is this, and tomorrow's pattern should also have the early high. We said this rally Friday almost always would follow through, which it did. We also had a target of 3981.25. Now in overnight futures, we printed the equivalent of well under that price, so it was satisfied in futures, but I don't count the target as being met unless it's also seen in regular trading hours. So for now at least, I'm going to call that one a miss. We'll add it to the list along with these others. We're starting to get a few of these lower targets, and the odds are overwhelming that at some time these numbers will print. There is a higher target generated from today's patterns, 4008.91. I'm not so certain it's going to print. We'll say it might fail because we hit a new high and then dropped, closing under not only intraday highs, but even prior highs. Now, I don't know if that's going to be maintained tomorrow or not, but if it's maintained at tomorrow's open, that's a rejection of the move to a new high. This is a reminder of what we said. During the day, MEJT said ultimately the lower price would print, which they certainly did. Said this move to a new high was F, which means a false move destined to retrace, so that retraced. Said this rally would retrace, said this drop would retrace, and that's all happened. But it also says this big drop is going to retrace, come back to that line, and that hasn't happened yet. Now we're close, I believe, to a major change in trend. And when you have major changes in trend, MEJT almost always will leave an unfilled target. So I'm not confident we're going to see that price, but that's what the system says. We have two trend lines coming together at today's high. We have this trend line in green, this one in red. You'll see we came through but couldn't hold it. This meeting point of trend lines is a common place for rallies to end. And over the weekend I hit a slightly higher target and a slightly later date, and that still works, but just because the other target works doesn't mean this one won't. And this is a logical place for this to end. We actually hit a target about only 13 or so points higher than today's high. Could be close enough. We also have a declining 200-day moving average. It's pretty hard to stay over that for too long, especially when you start to move from this far under the average. Now we had a count with this being A and this being B, and that gave us a target of 4,028.96, but it doesn't break any rules if this is B right here, and if you set A equal to 38.2%, you get a 100% move for C right at today's high. So if this is the high, you can certainly explain it and everything works, and I think the price is close enough. And as far as the time goes, I have to admit timing isn't really my thing anyway. But if we break through, these numbers could still work. This is just a reasonable candidate for the rally to end at today's high. Well, tomorrow's pattern has the early high. Doesn't mean you won't gap down. The day tends to be a bearish day with a low in the final hour. But if it isn't, then you expect to see more strength in the days to come. There is a higher MEJT target. If we don't cap down smartly, the rules say it prints, but we typically will leave a failed target and major changes in trend, so I'm not so confident it's going to be seen. We stopped at trend line resistance, and even though we hit a new recovery high, we closed in the red and under a prior high. So if that weakness is maintained at tomorrow's open, that's a rejection of the move to a new high. Now, before the market opens tomorrow, the producer price index report comes out. It can make a major difference as far as what the prices are, and I just don't have a sufficiently accurate way to predict the response to that report or any other report, so just bear that in mind. Today had the narrowest range of the past 7 trading days, and according to one system, that should lead to a large move tomorrow. So if we do start down, if we do, could have legs. Today's high is a reasonable place, not the only one, but a reasonable place for the rally to end and the big drop to begin. If that's not the top, there's resistance near 4,029 cash and a possible change in trend date near the end of the week. So the best guess I have now is the rally either ended today or is going to end maybe under 1% higher at the end of the week. So I think we're pretty close. Tomorrow's pattern has the early high. It should be a big move. We'll see how we open. And that's today's call.